Welcome to One Nation, One Voice. This is your host, Mr. Eke Ukoumunne. I'd like to greet all my fellow Nigerian countrymen throughout the world, those who are based in Nigeria and obviously in the diaspora, including Canada. For you that are in Canada, please tell me how's it going. As always, I'll always say to you, please like, share and subscribe. You know, something has been burning my heart for a long time in regards to Nigeria. I always talk about Nigeria, I always talk about the resources that we have. And I say over and over again, for those who don't know the resources that we have in Nigeria, please go and have a look at the mismanagement of resources on One Nation, One Voice Facebook page, and just have a look, because you can actually see that in every state of the country, every state is laden with a huge reserve of mineral resources from every state, from Nasarawa state to Abia state, and you could just go on and on and on. So oil is not the only thing that Nigeria has. We are, like I said before in previous videos, we are like a large marketplace, you know, for the international community, because we have all the resources that most countries would ever look for. And that's why I said to you before that I think that Nigeria is probably the most blessed nation, most blessed landmass. And if only we can just get over the petty little quarrels that we're having in regards to religion, in regards to ethnic or tribal groups, all those things, we need to get rid of them. And that's where I keep on coming back. So there's something that's just been burning in my heart, and I've been saying I'm going to just post a video on it, because I'm actually, to be honest with you, I've been saying before, I know I said this before on the Facebook page, APC PDP, you know, I'm sorry to say this, don't want to use foul language, but you know what, in the UK we say what, same feces, in fact let me say it that way, same feces, different toilet. Because you know what, when you've got two parties and politicians can just jump from one side to another, that shows you that there's nothing real that they're really standing for. So, okay, you know what, you're going to say to me, okay, well, Tinubu is not PDP. It doesn't really matter. What I'm saying is this, whether you call them old cargoes or you call them regurgitated politicians, we need new, vibrant leaders with vision and who have wisdom of how to use the resources that every Nigerian citizen is standing on. Now, I said that something's been burning my heart. Listen, I'm looking at what's going on right now. Nigerian people, hey? My people, you are suffering in Nigeria. It's crazy. Look at the currency now. Our currency is now being compared to like places like Togo and Cameroon. Do you know, I don't even know how many of you know this, but in the early 80s, there was a point in time that Nigerian currency was 1 to 2 pounds. 1 to 2 pounds. And at one point it was 1 to 1 pound. What have we got now? What's going on? And then you hear all the sort of things that are coming out. Okay, let me look at this list right now. 5 billion naira for presidential yacht. When has Nigeria needed a president, needed a yacht? It is not in the time, right, where we need to be looking at austerity measures. It's not in the time where people are struggling, they're suffering, yeah? Some people, their wages is not even up to a bag of rice. A bag of rice being 80,000. 80,000 naira. Some people are not getting paid 80,000 naira. And when you think about this, Nigerian citizens, who are the other people that are suffering? Listen, soldiers, they're also citizens. Yeah? Don't think that soldiers get paid so much. People in the armed forces are also suffering. Those that are fighting terrorists, those that are fighting Boko Haram, they're also suffering. I don't want to get into all of that now. Policemen, you are also suffering. People will say, oh, I'm trying to arrange a coup. It's not true. I'm trying to enlighten Nigerians. Like, enough is enough. I've been saying this for how long? By now, I keep on saying, when will my people decide that, listen, we're not going to do this anymore? The power is in the hands of the people. 5 billion naira yacht. $2.8 billion for Tinubu and his wife. Supplementary budget, which includes new bulletproof cars. Listen, I know cars. I don't want to get it twisted. I know cars. Cars do not all of a sudden, even if they're bulletproof cars, even if they're armored cars, they don't all of a sudden become defunct because they have been 3 years old. There are people out there, there are leaders out there. If you have a chance, go and look at the president of, maybe it's the president of Uruguay. He was driving a VW Beetle. I'm not saying you have to drive a VW Beetle. I know Nigerians will have to do FShizu. We want our president to be still driving in a good vehicle. But listen, you can't tell me that the leader of the country, the president, cannot tell me that you are concerned of the welfare of the people and then go and splurge out on such items. $1.91 million for cars for Tinubu and his wife. $12.7 million for presidential air fleet. $4 million to renovate presidential residence. $160,000 for each of the 469 National Assembly lawmakers. Let's just look at 160 million naira each for each of the 469 National Assembly lawmakers to buy new SUVs so that they can do their work better. They weren't doing their work good before. The car is not going to make them do it better. It's not going to make them do it better. It's not. We barely have good roads. In fact, do you know what? Hats off, actually, to Governor Otti. I know he's from the Labour Party. If you're asking me, am I Labour Party? I'm not even into any of the parties. But he's bringing 24/7, 24 hours electricity to Aba. And I'm sure it will keep on going. Aba in Abia State, right? And I'm sure it will keep on branching out further and further, right? 6-lane highway from Umuahia to Port Harcourt. Listen, every governor in Nigeria receives an allocation. They have a choice. They either use it or they chop it. I will always come back to this point again. My people, when are you going to decide that you deserve better? It is not in a time of election they bring some money, some bags of money, and you say, I will vote for these people. I've said it before. If you take that 10,000, if you take that 100,000, for the next 4 years, you'll be suffering. If you take that 100,000, will that help you for the next 4 years to send your children to school? Will it help you to pay or buy the groceries you need to buy? Will it help you to pay for the bills you need to pay for? Will it help you to live? Will it give you sustenance for 4 years? It's crazy. It's actually disturbing. $7 million for renovation of President and Vice President's residence in Lagos. And you have to remember that between 2016 and 2020, Buhari actually spent 37 billion naira, which is, at that time, currency was better, you know that. Wasn't great, but it was better. 37 billion naira to renovate the presidential residence in Aso Rock. So, why are we now still splurging? Let me be honest with you. You're probably looking at me and say I'm idealistic. But let's look at it this way now. Tinubu is wealthy. Where the wealth comes from, I do not know. That's not my business. He's wealthy. But the majority of Nigerians, they are not wealthy. Yet they live in a country that is laden with wealth. All Nigerians are looking for is just a foundation. A solid foundation from which they can leap off from. Hats off to Nigerians. Listen, for you to even try to succeed and even be somehow succeeding in a state which looks like a failed state like Nigeria, hats off. You have to thank your God. Because honestly, most countries, they would have dissolved. They would have broken off. They would have broken apart. But that says something to me about the Nigerian people. And while I'll always keep on bigging you guys up, honestly, I'll keep on speaking good of you. Because you are tough. You are resilient. You are hustlers. You will do whatever to make ends meet. And I want to just say one thing. okay, I'm hearing recently now, I'm hearing some Igbos, again, I'm not into generalizations, because there's some Igbos that will be like, oh, you know what, we're not going to protest. And there'll be some Igbos saying that they want to protest. Like, honestly, we're talking about millions of people. Just the same way I'm not indicative, and I can't say I represent all Nigerians, because I can't say all Nigerians think the way I think, and I can't say that all Igbo people think the way I think, or all Southerners think the way I think, or whatever it might be, right? I can't say we all think the same, right? And that's why we have to look at people as individuals. But you know what? I know it's probably not going to come around as, a favorite person. And to be honest, since I've started this One Nation, One Voice, I've been accused by my own, people from my own tribe, from Igbos, as either being a Buhari stooge, being a federal government stooge, and yet I'm always speaking against their policies. I'm always speaking against the things that they do. And yet I've been told I'm a traitor to my people. No. Listen, all I can say is this. I love Nigerians. I love Igbos. I love Nigerians. But I'm going to speak the truth. I don't even care whether, you subscribe or you don't. Of course, I would love people to be enlightened, and I'd love people to hear the truth. But if I speak the truth and you don't like me, that's fine. I will continue to speak the truth. So what I'm trying to say is, I've said this before in other videos, and I say it again. Anything that is affecting Nigeria in this way will affect every single citizen of Nigeria. Poverty and lack and want will not discriminate between tribes. It will always affect the masses on the ground. It doesn't matter what part of Nigeria you're from. Those masses are suffering. And another thing again is that you should even be thinking from an altruistic perspective. I mean, thinking, listen, okay, I'm not even happy, even if you are enjoying in Nigeria, and you see people suffering, and you see people in poverty, in lack. How can you tell me as a human being that you are happy? But you see, that's the thing. Have the Igbos gone through things? Yes. Have they been marginalized at times? Yes. Have the governors in the East, in Igbo land, have they done the needful for their people? No. Many of them have not. Many of them have not. But have the Igbos by and large been marginalized? You could say that, yes. Because tribalism is still rife in Nigeria. And when I'm speaking to you Nigerians, whether you be believer or unbeliever, whether you're a Christian or a Muslim or any other faith or any other religion, let me tell you something. Look, I want you to look deep into your hearts and see whether there is tribalism there. See whether there's tribalism there. And also see whether there's nepotism there. See whether if you get into power, will you only favor your family? Will you only favor those in the towns where you live? Or maybe some of you will not even favor those in the towns where you live. Will you be better than those leaders that keep on regurgitating, coming up every time? You have to, I want us to look at ourselves. Take a good hard look. Or will you favor everyone? Will you be able to look at the Tiv, the Kanuri, the same way you will look at your own tribe? If you can say that, then you know what? You are a true patriot. You are a true nationalist. But if you can't say that, you're not any better than many of those other elitists that come together to chop the national cake. And then when it suits them, they'll use tribalism, religion. Nigerians, we are too old for this now. I'd like to believe that we are too wise for this now. It is time that we say enough is enough. No more. We will not take this anymore. Recently I saw, I want to go into this next point. So Tinubu, President Tinubu, appointed his son-in-law head of the Federal Housing Association because apparently his son-in-law has a decade of experience in housing and hospitality. There's other Nigerians around in the country that have more than a decade of experience in housing and hospitality. And I'm sure there's many other Nigerians outside of Nigeria that have more experience than his son-in-law. No, this is nepotism. This is nepotism. Like, why can't we just put people in positions? Why can't they put people in positions by merit? And then it's rumored that it could be or not. The next day, that department receives $126 million. Listen, I don't even want to get into whether they will use it or they will not use it. I'm saying this. Any leader who really empathizes and sympathizes with the pain, the suffering of his people cannot go around splurging money. I'm telling you, it's not true. It's not true. There's no way. There's no way. There's absolutely no way. When a righteous man has wealth, you will see reverberations. You will see what that money will do. When wicked people have money, you see what it does. It's just not possible. So, as I'm saying, when I'm seeing Nigerians and I'm seeing you suffering, you'll think, oh, because he's in Canada. I was in Nigeria recently. And I'll be in Nigeria again soon. I never did. The little money I had, I gave it away. I gave it away. Because there's no way that you can see. It's like you just cannot see people. Can't see people in poverty and be happy. Tears came to my eyes. Tears came to my heart. There's just no way. You can't. That's why I will continue to pray every day, Lord. Help me to help my people. Help me to help my people. So I want to say to you, first of all, for all the Nigerians in Nigeria and around the world, in different parts of the world, I know that it's not easy. When I say I know it's not easy, but for the Nigerians that are in Nigeria, I just want to say to you that, my prayers are with you and I'll always be with you. But for us to move on, we must change our mindset. You have to remember that the 5 million or the 6 million that voted for President Tinubu, that's 6 million too many. It's 6 million too many. To be honest with you, for me personally, now you're going to say, do I think that Peter Obi would turn things around? And see, if you're part of the system, you're part of the system. Will he do some things differently? May do some things better? Probably, yeah. But if you're really part of the system, it's difficult to tear down that same system that supported you and propagated you and put you to the place that you're in. But yeah, I think he would have done some things better, because I think there is an element of wisdom at least. There's some sympathy in his heart for the people. So I think that maybe he would have done slightly better. But we're not in a place where we need slightly better. We're in a place where we need that leader, that visionary that can utilize both the human resource that we have. 200 million people, strong, vibrant, at least 70% or 65% aged between 18 to 35. I said this before. This is an engine room. The Western world, the places that you think are amazing would bite people's hands off to have the kind of demographics that we have. 65 to 70% being between 18 and 35. Oh my gosh. The Western world is full of age. It's an aged population. That's why they're always looking for more and more immigrants. They need people that are having children. And then we have it. And then we have 200 million ingenious, hardworking people, entrepreneurial. And then we have all the resources. All the resources. Oil, gas, lithium, uranium. Go on and on and on. We have it all. We have it all. So next time we get to the point of election, of electing anyone, you should be looking at merit. What can they do? Not how much money they possess. Not how much money they possess. And not how long they have been in office, and not how many people know them, but what is their manifesto? What can they do? And how would they do it? How would they do it? So I don't want to make this too long a video. I am going to speak about the resources because I want Nigerians. If you're not going to that Facebook, in the next podcast, I'm going to speak about the resources that are laid in every state. And then I'm going to ask you, do you think that with all these resources, Nigeria should not be an economic superpower? From what I've seen, Nigeria is going to be an economic superpower. It's not my vision. It's God's vision. I'm just a messenger. If you like what I said, like it. If you don't, dislike it. If you want to put comments, you want to say things about me, that's up to you. But then you're obviously not suffering. And I'll keep on saying, any friend, anyone who is a friend of the politicians that are running Nigeria to the ground and causing people to starve in different parts of the country is not a friend of Nigeria. You need to ask yourselves right now, where do you stand? Is it with a better Nigeria, or you're just looking, hoping that you can get close enough to certain individuals to line your pocket? Are you a friend of Nigeria and the Nigerian people, or are you their foe? God bless you all. One nation, one voice. Until the next podcast.